Please welcome Dr. Yaser Bishr.
Good morning. I hope you had your coffee today. Before I start, there is actually some anticipation in the audience here. It's an internal thing that happened in the network recently. We did some restructuring, so all the digital properties now are part of digital, a new group that we created. So everyone is anticipating what I'm going to talk about. So let me just start the slides here. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit at a high level about the principles of the digital strategy of Al Jazeera in the age of LOLs, WTFs, and things like that. So let me just see a show of hands. How many of you views TV news as the primary source of news for you? No one watches TV as the primary source of news. One person. I'm not going to ask you how old you are. So the TV audience is aging. CBS viewers, the median age is 60. CNN is 61. BBC is 61. Fox News is 68. That's the median age of TV news viewers around the globe. I think we don't have numbers about the Middle East, but I think it is probably in the low 50s, and that is because of the technology penetration at a regional scale. It's a little bit is not on par with Europe and the United States and Asia. So I think it's in the low 50s, but still very high. So that created a gap, right? A lot of kids don't know what CNN is. Maybe that's a little exaggeration, but there's a really big gap between the parents and the kids. So our target audience in Al Jazeera for digital is between 16 and 45. That's just our estimate. Who don't watch TV, always connected, and like to engage. That's our challenge. So to get there and reach that audience, we have 6 challenges. Let's walk through these challenges in the next few minutes. Challenge number 1, we live in really a storm or a flood of content. So let me prove it to you. Sound is not really important, but so these were only 10 seconds. So what happened in these 10 seconds? There were 5,000 minutes of uploaded videos on YouTube, just in 10 seconds. We probably had Al Jazeera uploaded some videos during these 10 seconds. 75,000 tweets. 550,000 new posts. Probably Asia Plus did a couple of posts in the last 10 seconds. This is really like, and 12,500 hours of video views coming from the 1.9 billion users on Facebook. So how can we as a publisher stand out from the crowd and reach our audience? That's the challenge that publishers are facing. So that's challenge number 1. Challenge number 2, audience is attention poor. There was some research that had been done several years ago. I think Microsoft has done similar research, where in 2000, the average attention span of an adult is 12 seconds. 2014, it dropped 4 seconds. It became 8 seconds. By the way, that is actually a second less than the goldfish. And don't ask me how they measured the attention span of a goldfish, but it is known to be 9 seconds. And that's a problem and a challenge for us. The third challenge is we have a fragmented audience, and this is really very challenging for publishers. You have so many social media platforms out there. The decision is which one we should be on. We can't be on all of them. And we faced this problem in Asia Plus when we created Asia Plus. In fact, still are trying to solve this challenge. So the Asia Plus, when we started, we were organized this way. So you have an editorial team, a creative team, a data team, an engagement team. That worked well for one platform. But when we want to go on 10, 15 different social media platforms, you can't really scale. Because that becomes very expensive, especially when you produce videos at a scale every day. So the cost of production is very, very high. So that's another challenge. Challenge number 4 is the democratization of content. Really, with the advances in social media, there has been major change. This is a typical production value chain in a traditional ecosystem. So it starts by the creators. They work with the production companies. When they produce the content, they give them to the channels. They use distribution, whether it's free-to-air or through cable, to reach through one device, a single device, to a household. This is really just a high level, the value chain. But when this became accessible to the normal people, the creators have direct access to the distribution channels, and they bypassed us as publishers. That works also for news, right? User-generated content, blogs, and videos that are made by people about news, about current events. So it's not only video production, it is content production for movies and documentaries and so forth, but also news. And that made it very challenging for us as publishers. How can we stand not only against the presence of social media, but also the creators and influencers have direct access to the audience, and they can engage with them directly. The 5th challenge that we're facing, that social media platforms are not our friends. And I know that there are a couple of people from social media here. Twitter, how are you? But they're not also our enemies. I don't think they're enemies. They are kind of in the middle. They're our frenemy. And here's why. Sorry, the clicker is kind of hard to work with. You remember a few months ago, this is a picture of a firefighter from Sweden, who has been subjected to an incident, an accident that affected his face. When Facebook saw it, he's actually a hero in Sweden. They saw the picture, they removed it. That's an editorial decision. When a newspaper put his picture up on their Facebook page, Facebook removed it. That's an editorial decision. So a news editor sitting in the newsroom thinks he is in control. He's actually not in control. You know, also remember the fake news story. Here is the title of a newspaper a couple of months ago. The search giant said that it would ban the publishers with articles intended to mislead or deceive readers. So let's take an example. You know, when President Trump said, we're going to build the wall and we're going to have Mexico pay for it. Is that deceiving? Would they not allow him to publish this on the web? So actually, Google is becoming the publisher and the decision maker in this. So they're not a technology company only. They're not a social media platform. They're actually a news editor. So we have our audience, Asia Plus and Jazeera, and many of you as publishers have their content live on social media platforms, and we are subjected to their algorithms and their editorial decision making. Okay? So, not only that, their business model is not really matching with the business model of the publisher. So let's understand the business model of our frenemy. The revenue model is built just at a high level on 2 main elements. One is the impressions, per 1,000 impressions, the cost of impression. Basically, if you go to the web page or to the Facebook news feed. You get ad banners, some mid-roll in videos. That's impression. And there's a cost to that for advertisers. Facebook makes some money, and the content provider makes some. It's like a revenue share. The other one is cost per click. When you see an ad, you click on it, there's cost to it. So there are two main revenue streams for Facebook and other social media platforms. Okay? So what are the levers that Facebook works with to increase the revenue? They have 4 levers, really, to control the revenue. Active user. Twitter, Facebook, they are in a race to increase new users and active users who are subscribing and coming to their website every day. That's one lever. The second is produce more content. That's why they come to us and they encourage users to create more content, because that generates more traffic and more content to publish on the newsfeed that appear to the audience. The third one is an ad load. Ad load is basically when you go on Facebook newsfeed or Twitter, what is the balance between enough ads and too much ads would be kind of spamming. Right? So there is a limit to the number of ads that they can show us on the news feed. The other is the time spent. The time spent, they would like me to spend more. These are related to each other. If I am a publisher, like AJ Plus and Al Jazeera English and Arabic and other assets that other publishers have on Facebook, what kind of controls we have here? Not too much, really. I can't control the time spent because I don't have information about the users. I have about the general visitors, but I don't have detailed information about the individuals, like Facebook and Google and Twitter have. I can't control the ad load. All I can do is, I can't control the active users. All I can do is put more content. And that is very costly. And if I want my content to appear on the news feed, I have to pay for it. So we generate revenue from them from one end and take some of that money and put it back into the social media platform to boost our content and make people see it. And that's not a fair deal, actually. That is why The Guardian, a couple of weeks ago, removed their content from Insta article, right? Instant article, and I think from Apple News. So this is, for us, a major challenge. It works against our interests as a publisher. We don't have control. We don't have actually information or any intelligence about the individual audience, so we can serve them the right information, the right time, based on knowledge of their behavior. We only know general. You know, demography, you know, their age group, their affiliations, just high level. But I cannot provide personalized information. The last challenge is the social media platform are beasts. And we should continue to feed the beast. This is a real data from Facebook. The yellow one here is the organic reach. The orange is the paid. What's wrong with this picture? The yellow is not really increasing. We would like to see, as publishers, that our audience that come to our Facebook page or our Twitter feed come and increase over time in terms of reach without paying for it. That actually, you could distill that into loyalty. Social media platforms are not designed to increase and up the loyalty of our audience, so they can come back to us without pushing content and spending, boosting, and advertising to the social media platform to have them come to our platforms again. Right? So this is the last, actually, challenge that we are facing. So the picture is not very dark, but these are the challenges and realities that we as publishers have to face in order to be able to develop our going forward strategy. So where do we go from here? I always like this picture because it says a very important message to the team who's working in digital and people who are also supporting the digital group in Al Jazeera. That is, when we want to make change and affect change, it has to start from inside first, from within. And then it spills over to the outside world. Some invention, this is what Apple did. I'll show you a quote from that. We have to make the change inside, and that's what we've been doing. We created a digital group. We put the teams together. We are creating collaboration between the digital group and other entities and the channels in the organization, and we're changing the culture internally, because if we don't change internally, we'll not be able to affect change outside and capture wider audience that deserve to see our content. Our content is unique. It's award-winning. But we need to make it in a way and personalize it in a way to reach the right person in the right place at the right time. This is a quote from Steve Jobs, and this is what I mean by starting with why we're doing this. It's a long kind of paragraph, but the key one here is because the ones who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who actually do. And it started inside Apple. It started inside Apple. Everyone believed in this, and it came to the outside world. That's why people who have Apple, I don't have an Apple iPhone, but who have Apple devices, they feel they're part of a special group. A part of not elite, but a special group. So it is the user experience, and I'll come to that. So I put this, and I hope it's not shocking a lot of people in Al Jazeera. I don't think really in digital we are in the business of news. Because news is kind of a one direction. You're like standing, sitting in a podium and talking to people. I think we are in the business of informing people. It's more about conversation. You know who the person who's sitting in front of you, how much he or she knows, and based on this, you tell them things they don't know. What, when, and where. And this is kind of the key that we would like to build in the digital group. We are in the business of informing people, which means I have to understand the people I'm talking to. So, and we have to focus our product on user experience. When you go to Apple, when you buy an Apple phone, the user experience doesn't start from like the user interface and things like that. It starts from the time you think of buying the Apple device and going to the Apple store. It's an entire experience. You go to the Apple store, it's a different experience. You take the box, go home, it's a different experience. So it's about user experience. Even though the iPhone is not so very much advanced from other phones in terms of technology, but it is the user experience. And take that and we map it to Al Jazeera. Our content is unique. We have to focus on taking this content and put it in a unique user experience. From the time they think about learning something. So I think that the user journey should start not from the time they come to our website or our apps. It's from the understanding the triggers that make them think about going where to get what information. That is very important for us in terms of our digital strategy. We have to understand the user behavior prior to coming to our content and looking at our content. This is where the user experience starts, not from the app. So, how are we going to do this? There are 4 pillars of investment I believe we are doing right now, and we're preparing for it. And we started, I'll share with you a couple of projects. First of all, invest in our people. And we have a plan, and we're working on that with Al Jazeera leadership. That's very key. So invest our people is very important. Second, we have to invest in our content. We have to diversify the content. It's not only about hard news, but making the audience, our user, our visitors whole in terms of knowledge. They know about the world, different parts of the world, different genres, different content. Not only political news, but different parts of the important information, parts of information that we think are relevant for them. Oops. In addition to that, we have to invest in platforms and the technology. Otherwise, we will not be able to build loyalty. We have to develop a strategy to nudge the audience from Facebook, from Twitter, into our own platform that would allow us to build more loyalty to our audience. That's why I'm saying social media platforms are not our enemy. They're actually also our friends, right? We should use these platforms to build the audience, and if we want to increase loyalty, we should bring the audience to our platforms. The question is, how would these platforms look like? That's what we're working on. And then we have to invest in understanding the audience so we know who we're talking to. And that is why in Al Jazeera, we are in the process of building diversification of content, as you will see also, making the platform smarter and know more, and analytics to understand the behavior of the audience. So we can build a package, a product that understands and matches the user expectation, user experience. For this, we have a couple of projects. One is an audio project. So we're building studios to serve the digital assets of the network. I think our goal is to build a portfolio of brands and sub-brands of Al Jazeera, like the AJ Plus and others, and Athir, that when the user goes and wants a piece of information, they take that different brand and they stay within the ecosystem of Al Jazeera. So this is an audio that has two components. One is technology. We built a bot that runs on Facebook Messenger, and so some AI component is built into it, and also content, original audio content, that will be branded based on the AJ Plus brand, Al Jazeera English, Al Jazeera Arabic, and documentary, and so forth. The second is called Sadim, and that is to answer the challenge that I mentioned before, which is about the production value chain. Right? We have to be plugged into the influencers. And we have to scale that. We have to enable them and make them part of our ecosystem. And this platform will be launched towards the end of this year. And then diversify the content formats. This is an AR, augmented reality, virtual reality strategy that we have. We soft launched Contrast VR, and we are in the process of producing 2D and 3D content right now. So these are the three projects that we have. So at the end, I would like to say that we have a long and winding road. And it is challenging for us as Al Jazeera, and also challenging for other partners and colleagues that I talk to from other companies. But I trust actually that we have the best team out there. And I'm really kind of honored to be working with a very smart team on digital and my colleagues around me. This is where it will help us to become leaders in digital. And that is actually my last slide. So let's go and be different. Thank you very much.